Welcome to the Smart Keys podcast. Right now, as you listen to this, you're likely operating at roughly 60% of your actual cognitive capacity.
Which is a terrifying thought, right?
It really is. And the crazy thing is, it is entirely by design. I mean, if you look around the modern office or
Right.
just look at your own desk right now, there is a reality that almost all of us share. You are sitting there feeling constantly bombarded.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got the email chime going off, the instant messaging app is, bouncing your dock, a text message is lighting up your phone screen, and you probably have, 3 different browser windows open with a dozen tabs each?
At least a dozen.
Right. We are just swimming in this sea of pings and alerts and demands on our time. And we've somehow convinced ourselves that this is just what working looks like.
Yeah, it has really become the defining characteristic of the modern professional landscape. I mean, we are more connected than ever, but our actual ability to sit down and think deeply about a complex problem is under constant systemic siege.
Systemic siege. I like that phrasing.
It's true, though. The digital infrastructure we use every single day, it was built for connectivity. It was not built for concentration.
Which is exactly why today's deep dive is such an essential resource. We are exploring a comprehensive guide called Monotasking, the art of focusing on one task at a time.
Such a crucial read.
Yeah, it's written by Felix Römer, who is the founder of smartkeys.org. And he brings over 15 years of experience in digital marketing and e-commerce. So he is someone who has, really lived in the trenches of the fast-moving digital world.
He knows exactly how loud the noise can get.
Exactly. We are going to frame this whole discussion around the future of work and systemic business efficiency. And I promise you, understanding this material is a practical shortcut to reclaiming your time, your calm, and your competitive edge. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Multitasking in the modern corporate world is often worn like a badge of honor. We treat it like we're all spinning plates on sticks, showing off how many we can balance at the exact same time.
Right, the ultimate multitasker.
Right. But I want you to consider something. What if we aren't actually balancing anything? What if we are actually just dropping all the plates, shattering them on the floor, and completely exhausting ourselves in the process?
That visual, that cuts right to the heart of the issue. To understand why monotasking is the strategic future of work, we first have to fully understand the severe, often hidden costs of the way we currently operate.
The hidden tax, basically.
Exactly. So let's deliberately define what we mean by monotasking based on the source material. It is the practice of giving your full single-task attention to one specific project until you reach a clearly set endpoint.
Simple enough.
It sounds simple, yeah. And the goal is twofold: to significantly boost the quality of your work and to drastically lower your stress levels. But, in a distraction-heavy environment, it is basically an act of rebellion.
A necessary rebellion, honestly, because the hard data in this guide on how we currently work is genuinely alarming.
Oh, the numbers are wild.
They really are. According to the research, people switch tasks on average every 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
Wow. 3 minutes.
Right. You barely have time to form a complete thought, let alone execute on a strategy, before you are pivoting to something else.
And the recovery time is what truly destroys a workday. There's this field work conducted by researcher Gloria Mark, and it reveals that once you are interrupted, it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully recover your focus.
Wait, 23 minutes?
Yeah, 23 minutes and 15 seconds just to get back to the level of deep thought you were at prior to the interruption.
Okay, wait, I have to push back on that a little bit. I mean, I understand that a 20-minute phone call from a client derails you, but what if the interruption is just a 2-second text message?
Right, the quick glance.
Yeah, just glancing at a Slack notification that says, sounds good. Surely a 2-second glance doesn't trigger a massive 23-minute penalty. I mean, if I look at my phone, I can physically look back at my screen instantly.
What's fascinating here is how the human brain fundamentally operates, specifically the prefrontal cortex, which is it's your brain's executive control center. The brain's capacity for simultaneous thought is strictly limited. You literally cannot process 2 complex cognitive tasks at the exact same time.
So multitasking is just a myth.
Completely. When you think you are multitasking, your brain is actually rapid switching between tasks. Think of it less like pausing a video and more like booting up an entirely different operating system on a computer.
Oh, wow. So even that minor 2-second glance at a notification forces a complete reboot of my working memory.
Yes, exactly. Every time you switch, the brain has to unload the rules and context of the previous task and load up the rules for the new one. And it creates something called attention residue.
Attention residue.
Yeah. Even when you look back at your screen, a portion of your cognitive capacity is literally still stuck processing that text message. It forces the brain to split its mental energy, which significantly increases your cognitive load.
Because you're holding two things at once.
Right. You have to disengage, process the new information, and then waste time reorienting yourself to the original task. It derails your deep momentum entirely because your brain is actively exhausting itself just trying to figure out where you left off.
That makes the aggregate cost terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were paying a heavy toll every 3 minutes...
It adds up fast.
It does. The guide points out that studies from MIT and the American Psychological Association found that this frequent, rapid switching cuts productivity by roughly 40%.
Almost half. Almost half of your productive capacity is just vanishing into the friction of switching gears. And it actively raises your error rates, too.
Because you're tired.
Exactly. Your brain's RAM is overloaded, so you make more mistakes, which then takes even more time to fix later. It's a vicious cycle that harms both performance and creativity, because you never reach the state of flow where the best ideas actually live.
Okay, knowing this massive, devastating tax of context switching completely changes the game. I mean, we are losing 40% of our output to a biological bottleneck.
We are.
Which brings us to the tactical toolkit for modern professionals. Because the real question is, how do we practically shield our attention when our digital environment is literally designed by thousands of engineers to interrupt us?
It's a tough battle. But the guide offers a highly specific, step-by-step approach to creating a focused work block. And it starts before you even touch your keyboard.
Okay, where does it start?
It starts with absolute clarity. You need to write down exactly one clear sentence stating what the task is and why it moves the project forward.
Just one single sentence.
Just one.
I like that. A single sentence acts as an anchor. When the brain gets fatigued and, wants to wander, you don't have to spend energy remembering what you're supposed to be doing. It's right there.
Exactly. And alongside that sentence, you quickly note the likely obstacles you might face and one quick counter move for each.
Oh, so anticipating the friction.
Right. If you know you usually get stuck looking for a specific data set, you write down exactly where that file is before you begin. This ensures your task time starts with immense forward momentum rather than vague intentions.
Once you have that clarity, you have to defend it. And the guide suggests deploying technology to fight technology. We aren't just talking about relying on willpower here.
No, willpower is a finite resource.
Exactly. We're talking about using software features to block the very digital environment that usually distracts you.
Because if you have to actively choose not to check your email every 5 minutes, you are draining cognitive energy. You have to remove the choice entirely.
So close the email, silence the phone.
Close the email, silence the phone, disable notifications. But the guide recommends going further by using specific site blockers like Freedom, Stay Focused, or Leech Block.
I've used Freedom before. It's great.
It works. It even suggests using separate digital desktops on your computer to physically hide unrelated applications from your field of view.
You are basically creating a Ulysses contract with yourself. You are engineering an environment where doing the right thing, focusing, is simply the easiest path.
Right, you make a distraction impossible.
You don't have to fight the urge to check social media because the site blocker has already made it impossible. And then you have to manage the clock.
Timing is critical because intense focus is metabolically draining for the brain. You can't just mandate yourself to focus for 4 hours straight.
Right, nobody can do that.
So the guide recommends running what it calls a 25-minute Focus One sprint. This is structurally similar to the Pomodoro technique.
Okay, yeah, Pomodoro.
You work with absolute single-task dedication for 25 minutes, set by a timer, and then you take a mandatory 5-minute break to let your neural networks reset. You repeat this for 2 to 4 rounds.
And if you prefer longer chunks?
For those who prefer longer stretches of deep work, it suggests trying a 52-17 rhythm. So that's 52 minutes of work followed by a 17-minute break. This allows you to stack meaningful progress without hitting burnout.
But, even with site blockers and timers, there is another enemy. It's not just the external pings from your boss. It's our own brains.
Oh, the internal distractions are the worst.
They really are. You're in the middle of a 25-minute sprint making great progress, and suddenly your brain reminds you that you need to buy dog food or you get a brilliant idea for a totally different marketing campaign.
It happens every time.
The guide has a fantastic strategy for handling this internal sabotage called the brain dump.
Yes, you absolutely need a system for handling internal distractions. The guide recommends keeping a tool like Evernote, Trello, or Asana open specifically to capture these stray thoughts, to-dos, or what it calls media pulls.
Media pulls.
Yeah, like that sudden urge to look up a movie cast in the middle of a report.
Oh, I get those all the time.
Right. When a thought interrupts you, you don't act on it, but you also don't try to suppress it, because suppressing a thought requires active mental energy too. You just capture it.
So the brain dump is basically an attention waiting room. You acknowledge the thought, tell it to take a seat in Trello, and immediately get back to the main event.
Exactly. You close the cognitive loop.
You don't lose your flow because your brain knows the thought is safely stored away for later.
You pause when the urge to switch arises, log the distraction in your external system, and gently steer your attention back to your one clear sentence. It prevents that costly operating system reboot we discussed earlier.
Doing this in microsprints is highly effective. But microsprints are just the building blocks. To truly stay ahead as a professional, you have to figure out how to scale this focus across the entire workday without burning out.
Right. A 25-minute sprint is great, but a workday is 8 hours long.
Exactly. Which brings us to section 3 of the guide, which delves deeply into energy management. It's about taking those scattered hours of the day and turning them into reliable, predictable progress.
And to do this, you have to structure your day around your peak natural rhythms. We all have ultradian rhythms, which are basically cycles of energy that rise and fall throughout the day.
The guide specifically mentions that deep, demanding work, the kind that requires 60 to 90-minute blocks of uninterrupted thought, like writing code or drafting a strategic brief, it must be mapped to when your energy is highest.
Which for many people, that's the morning.
Yeah. You map those blocks on your calendar as do not disturb and treat them with the exact same respect you would give to a meeting with your CEO.
That's a great way to frame it.
I mean, you wouldn't answer a text in the middle of a board meeting, so you shouldn't answer one in the middle of a deep work block.
Absolutely. And part of protecting that energy is how you handle the inevitable communications that pile up. The guide is very firm on the concept of batching.
Batching, right.
Instead of keeping your inbox open all day as a constant background hum of anxiety, you batch your email and notification checks into just 2 or 3 specific windows per day.
Just 2 or 3.
2 or 3. And during your deep focus blocks, your phone shouldn't just be turned face down, it should be completely out of sight.
There is actual science backing that up, too. The mere presence effect of a smartphone means that just having it on your desk, even powered off, drains a little bit of your cognitive capacity.
Really? Just having it there?
Yeah, because your brain is actively using energy to suppress the urge to grab it. Removing it from the room gives you that RAM back.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the guide introduces a brilliant concept from author Thatcher Wine. He argues that steady, single-task practice actually rebuilds your attention control.
Rebuilds it.
Yeah. We need to stop thinking of attention as a fixed biological trait that we either have or we don't. Attention is a muscle.
That framing completely shifts how we view the workday. It's not just about getting the project done. The act of focusing is actually a workout for your brain.
Precisely. Due to neuroplasticity, your brain adapts to what you ask it to do. If you constantly ask it to context switch, it becomes very good at being distracted.
That's scary.
But when you engage in focused activities like reading a physical book or listening to a colleague with full, undivided presence, you are actively exercising that attention muscle. You are training your neural pathways to resist context switches and improve their overall mental fitness. Focus is a learnable, strengthenable skill.
Which is incredibly empowering on an individual level. You can literally rewire your brain to reclaim your attention. But, personal habits will eventually fail if your manager demands a 30-second response time on Slack.
Oh, without a doubt. Culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Right. And that brings us to the final and perhaps most vital section of this deep dive. We have to scale this focus as a team sport. We're transitioning from individual productivity to systemic business efficiency, because what happens when an entire organization adopts these principles?
That is where the true competitive advantage of the next decade lies. We transition from a lone worker trying to hide from distractions to a focused corporate culture. The guide points out a major structural flaw in modern business. Organizations implicitly expect constant availability. They mistake responsiveness for productivity.
A huge mistake.
Huge. By expecting an immediate reply to every message, they are accidentally mandating that 40% drop in productivity and driving up stress and error rates across the entire company.
They are actively sabotaging their own bottom line. So the guide offers strategic solutions for businesses to fix this at the root level. It's not just about telling employees to work harder or block websites. It's about fundamentally changing the rules of engagement.
Like what?
For instance, it suggests HR-led training to actively educate all staff on the 23-minute rule. If everyone understands the biological math of interruptions, they become much more respectful of each other's time.
That education piece is huge. It also requires structural changes from leadership. Managers need to establish acceptable response windows. If an email can sit for 3 hours without the business collapsing, that policy needs to be explicitly stated so employees aren't checking their inboxes out of fear.
Fear is a big driver of distraction.
It really is. The guide also recommends blocking out shared, meeting-free periods like a Thursday morning for the entire team to engage in deep work simultaneously. If no one is allowed to send messages, no one feels anxious about missing them.
And there's a crucial management component to this too. The guide advises managers to tie individual tasks to clear key performance indicators, or KPIs.
Right.
When people don't know what they're actually supposed to be achieving, they default to busy work, like instantly replying to emails just to look productive.
This touches on the core mechanics of workplace motivation. When employees understand the why behind their work, when they see how their specific monotasking sprint moves the needle on a clear KPI for the company, their motivation naturally improves and their stress falls.
They can actually log off mentally.
They can disconnect from the noise without guilt because they know they are making a measurable impact.
So what does this all mean? It means that corporate wellness isn't just about offering a discounted gym membership or bringing in a yoga instructor on Fridays.
Though those are nice.
They are nice. But true corporate wellness is about fundamentally redesigning how the team communicates so that everyone isn't perpetually distracted and anxious. It's about protecting the cognitive health of your workforce as a strategic business asset.
Exactly. Leadership support is the only thing that makes this kind of focus cultural, not optional. When a team agrees on focus rules, they simply get more meaningful work done with significantly less friction. It replaces the chaos of constant availability with a shared language of productivity.
And it forces you to look at your workday through a completely different lens. Instead of judging your value by how many emails you replied to or how many meetings you attended, you start judging it by the quality of the deep work you managed to produce.
Monotasking isn't about working slower, it's about working smoother. By eliminating the massive friction of context switching, you actually increase your overall velocity and output while simultaneously preserving your mental well-being and your energy for life outside of work.
This guide by Felix Römer is just packed with actionable insights that target the root of how we work. We've covered the mechanics of the prefrontal cortex, the tactical use of software blockers, the energy management rhythms required to sustain effort, and the cultural shifts required for teams to thrive.
It really is a comprehensive blueprint for surviving in a noisy world.
And the best part is, you can start this process immediately. You don't need a corporate mandate to begin your own micro-sprints today. Pick one concrete task. Write down that single sentence of intention. Set a timer for 25 minutes, put your phone in another room, and just experience the difference in your momentum.
The clarity that comes from just one session of unbroken focus is usually enough to convince people to change their habits entirely.
It's a small experiment with a massive potential payoff. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a forward-looking and honestly a somewhat provocative thought to explore on your own. We've established today that in the modern information economy, human attention is arguably our most valuable business asset.
It is the raw material of innovation.
Exactly. At the exact same time, some of the largest, best-funded technology companies on Earth are spending billions of dollars engineering behavioral algorithms designed to harvest that exact asset from you. So, the question you have to ask yourself and your leadership team is this: are you actively defending your companies and your own greatest resource? Or are you giving it away for free to the loudest notification?
That is the defining challenge for any professional hoping to stay relevant in the coming decade.
It truly is. We want to explicitly thank you for tuning into the Smart Keys podcast. We really appreciate you spending your valuable attention with us today. Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss out on our future explorations, and we highly urge you to read Felix Römer's full, incredibly insightful article. You can find the link directly to Monotasking, the art of focusing on one task at a time, provided right there in the show notes. Until next time, guard your attention, Keep your focus sharp, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.